Tonight's CTV News, Cyclone Lucy didn't live up to the hype, but still made its mark in one part of the city. Elsewhere in today's news, restoration work is almost complete on the much-loved Rickerton House, and 3 Irish dancers are heading off to London to take on the world's finest. This is CTV News, I'm Grant Mangan. The storm has been and gone, but was it overrated? After serious flooding in the Flockton Basin and other parts of Christchurch, the City Council went into overdrive to prepare for the latest weather warnings. As Marcus Gibbs explains, it was all a bit of a fizzer.
The rain seemed to never stop, and as water levels rose, the Avon and Heathcote rivers broke their banks. Streets swelled with the wrath of the storm. Water sloshed into homes and businesses. The clean-up will cost millions of dollars. That was the result of a massive storm that hit Christchurch just over 2 weeks ago. But as Cyclone Lucy hit over the weekend, residents were left asking, is that it? But is it any wonder after recent events that the Christchurch City Council prepared well in advance for the bad weather? Heavy rain, winds and stormy conditions were forecast to hit the city on Sunday, putting further pressure on stormwater and drainage systems. 22,000 sandbags were prepared just in case, even though it was estimated during the flooding 500,000 sandbags wouldn't have made much of a difference. This morning, Christchurch City Council staff were on hand at New Brighton Beach to survey the damage.
Well, I mean, there was 4 metre swells forecast and gale force winds, and so we were interested to see what would happen.
Driftwood and other bits of debris scattered the beach, but it looks like New Brighton got off easy.
We have had history of the waves running right into the stone walls and even through them here in the past, and that didn't happen, thankfully.
A Met Service spokesman says in windy Wellington, gusts reached about 140 kilometres an hour, but in Christchurch they only reached 70 k's.
I would say as the storm passed overhead over the top of the South Line, gave a good easterly in, brought some rainfall through. I think it's always good to be prepared and be aware that these things could happen rather than being caught unprepared.
Being caught unprepared is exactly what happened to residents of the Flockton Basin. The extent of the flooding was the worst in the city's history due to land sinking after the earthquakes. Banks Peninsula felt the worst of the ex-tropical Cyclone Lucy. Yesterday, Orion crews battled against a number of cable and line faults caused by storm damage. The outages affected more than 7,000 customers at the peak of the storm. Residents in Flockton Basin will just be glad they weren't hit twice in the same month. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Last Friday, CTV News ran a story about local New Brighton residents being unhappy with the state of the beaches. Today, Christchurch City Council staff showed Marcus Gibbs what they do to keep the beach in order.
New Brighton couple Max Deutsch and Kathy Smith aren't enjoying their daily walks on North New Brighton Beach. They're sick of the driftwood that's washed ashore. Last Friday they were especially miffed by these 3 large piles of debris stacked by the Christchurch City Council.
This is what they scraped up, and you can see they've hidden it very well. There's 3 piles on this particular beach.
Is it all from the storm?
This is accumulated rubbish from the last 12 months.
But when CTV News returned to the beach today, the piles were gone. The Christchurch City Council had moved the debris further down the beach over the weekend.
We got caught halfway between a job being finished. We don't like leaving piles of driftwood stacked up like that in high use areas, and generally we take them away from public areas.
The couple were annoyed by the mess on the sand, but the City Council says it's just the beach doing its thing.
It's a natural situation. There's birds feeding on the seaweed. The driftwood has a role in trapping the sand. We do clear the driftwood in the summertime when there's people using these surf club areas, but mostly it's a natural Canterbury beach.
But to be fair, this isn't a typical beach. The driftwood is larger and it's more costly for the council to remove.
You can see the size of the driftwood here. It requires a heavy machine with a blade and a rake and that kind of stuff. A normal beach groomer you think of in Gold Coast or the North Island can't handle this kind of driftwood. So when we've priced it out, we've looked at options. We're talking maybe $100,000 just to do a few surf clubs for a few months over the summertime. It's not a cheap option, and we have to ask ourselves, is that a good use of money?
The Christchurch City Council instead moves the debris down the beach and buries it under dunes, which hasn't impressed the locals. But Rodney Chambers says the dunes are the city's best defence against storms and potential tsunamis.
And that's worked well over the years. Obviously, we don't want it left lying around for people to trip over and be critical of, so certainly we don't want bits of wood with nails and posts and things lying about, and that was never our intent.
150,000 people visit the New Brighton Pier every year. It's a popular destination for the locals, but some tend to leave souvenirs of their trip to the beach behind.
Is litter probably the biggest problem you face on New Brighton Beach?
Well, it's the one that people find most offensive, certainly, and so we prioritise it and we keep on with it. We have drums of stuff washing in off boats and all sorts of things, so we're constantly picking up rubbish as the guys are working up and down here.
Litter's a big problem and a popular complaint against those looking after the beach. This morning, an empty box of beers from a beach party was in full view of passers-by. Litter teams can be seen each day travelling down the beach cleaning up, but there's still more rubbish to be found. The Christchurch City Council's hoping the message will get through and litter offenders will start putting their rubbish in the bin. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
A local business owner is being pushed out to make way for a larger development, and he isn't going without a fight.
The days are numbered for this Hallswell shop. Willie Dairy has until the end of the month to vacate the building. The local business owner is being forced out of his premises by supermarket giant Foodstuffs, who are developing the area. When the day comes, it'll be the end of the era for Kin Yuk, who's been operating the business for 13 years.
It's unfair. It's very unfair.
Next door to his dairy, the rebuilding of the quake-affected New World is underway. Neighbouring shops who have also been affected by the new development have been offered containers to operate out of until the new shopping complex is ready for them to move into. But not Mr Yuk. He's been told to leave for good.
All tenants for new shopping centre, except me.
The press reported that Foodstuffs was helping Mr Yuk find a new premises, but he had not been made aware they were doing so. Even with the support of the community, Mr Yuk wasn't able to secure a future at the shop. Over 2,500 people signed a petition to keep the dairy in the community, including letters written to Foodstuffs by MP Nikki Wagner and local councillor Jimmy Chen.
It's very hard. This is 13 years I doing this shop. Here on 13 years. But all my effort is fall down.
All Mr Yuk wants is to continue serving the community in Hallswell, but with only a couple of weeks left to convince Foodstuffs, that looks unlikely. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
In this news just in, Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee says the Earthquake Commission is looking at making a financial contribution to the Christchurch City Council's flood mitigation in its role to settle residential land damage claims. Minister Brownlee says it's being explored as an option for settlement of some Canterbury land claims on properties identified as having increased vulnerability to flooding, including some properties in the Flockton area. Residential land with an increased risk of flooding due to the earthquakes is covered in the Earthquake Commission Act. Christchurch City Mayor Leanne Dalzell is pleased with the announcement, saying it will reassure residents whose properties are more vulnerable to flooding due to the earthquakes. Christchurch's home show was cut short this weekend. A fire in the CBS Arena put a stop to the popular event and left exhibitors millions of dollars out of pocket.
Around 160 exhibitors will be out of pocket $15 million after Saturday's fire. The blaze is believed to have started by a spa pool, which then activated the stadium's sprinkler system.
Thankfully, most importantly, no one was injured or hurt.
The premises was vacated and exhibitors met next door at the Westpac Hub, where they were kept up to date on the situation.
It was pretty devastating for them, obviously, the amount of time and effort that they put into events like this. So we've worked with them to try and get their belongings out of the venue as quickly as we can, but in a way which enables them to document any damage that they've sustained.
The CBS Arena has been riddled with water and smoke damage, estimated to have cost around $15.3 million. But V-Base believes it's too early to be counting costs.
I think we probably won't know the full extent of damage and costs for probably a little while yet.
Ticket sales for the popular event are being refunded, but the show isn't focusing on when it can next be held. Instead, the venue is getting ready for the arrival of Lionel Richie on Wednesday.
And that's probably a little bit too early for us to work through. The venue is fully booked this week. You know, as I say, our efforts are in terms of trying to turn the venue around so that we can host 2 concerts here this week. And I think the issue is going to be the discussions with the venue hirer will take place next week once we've cleared through this initial phase of understanding a little bit more about the extent of what's occurred.
The cause of the fire is yet to be determined, but fire investigators have been on the scene since Saturday.
Whilst we've been trying to clean the venue up, there's obviously been a careful process to ensure that the fire is fully investigated. At this stage, we haven't received any of those reports, or we don't know the outcome of those investigations.
Emma Cropper, CTV News.
Arthur's Pass residents have been issued a precautionary boil water notice. Selwyn District Council issued the notice after receiving tests showing high E. coli levels. The notice is likely to be in place for several days. E. coli can cause health issues, and residents are advised if they're showing symptoms of sickness, including vomiting, to see a doctor. Coming up, CTV went back to Riccarton House to see how the restoration project is proceeding.
Join us tonight at 6 for DW World News. Informative, lively, international news, breaking stories and global developments. DW News, weekdays at 6 p.m, right here on CTV.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, the naturopath here at Staywell Pharmacy. Working with the pharmacist, I use herbal and nutritional medicine to recommend natural alternatives for your health. This can be to counteract any side effects of your medication, general health advice, or natural options for you and your family. I'm also available for consultations. So come in and see us at Staywell Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road, Hornby. Staywell Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
Stop into participating Challenge service stations and pick up your Watch and Win bumper sticker. Be in to win $50 cash daily, plus go in the draw to win up to $5,000 each week. Our camera crews are out daily, and if we spot your car with our sticker, then you could be a winner. Tune into CTV Monday to Friday and watch first at 5 to see if we've spotted you. This week's Challenge service station is Milton Street in Summerfield, just down from Barrington Mall. Stop in today and be in to win.
Our friends and family celebrate and live their lives in all sorts of ways. So it's always hard and sad with the passing of a loved one. We at Palmer Funerals know and understand this, and we believe that their life should still be celebrated even when they have gone. With our newly built chapel, we can help tailor-make a funeral which is unique and personal to you, and help celebrate their life while making your difficult time easier. Palmer Funeral Services. Tailor-made funerals.
Is this your year to upgrade your existing interior? Then head into Bathroom and Flooring Warehouse for the latest styles in European vanities, showers and baths, all at affordable prices. Bathroom and Flooring Warehouse also stock a large selection of carpets and vinyl for all your flooring needs. To view our full range, head into 159 Waterloo Road, Hornby, or visit bathroomandflooring.co.nz.
Let's face it, everyone has an agenda. And guess what? So do I. Every week, I'll pick 3 stories that grab my attention. Agenda with me, Brent Goff.
The race to design and build Christchurch's proposed convention centre is down to 1. This comes after another bidder pulled out this week.
According to documents obtained by the press, 5 of 23 initial responses were asked to put forward proposals for the $284 million precinct to the Christchurch Central Development Unit. The centre is one of the government's key anchor projects. The CCDU can't confirm how many groups are still being considered, but a letter obtained by the press shows one consortium pulled out, citing a lack of information. In the letter, Southram Group confirms it was pulling out. The letter came from a third party and confirms Southram was one of 2 remaining bidders. It says the Crown will proceed with only 1 bidder. Last year, Naitahu Property, Fletcher Building, Naylor Love Hutchinson Builders and Populous confirmed they made up the 5 shortlisted groups. They refused to reveal their partners. It's understood Plenary is the only bidder remaining. Naitahu confirmed its withdrawal without bidding was for sound commercial reasons. Last month, Sarah said since the initial 23 responses came in to design, build and run the centre, the parameters of the tender have been adjusted.
Work at Rickerton House has been ongoing since the February earthquakes in 2011, and even in the past month since we last checked in, the house has come a long way, with some rooms back better than they were. Patrick Phelps reports.
Things have changed a bit since Rob Daly showed us around the house a month ago. The oak panelling on these stairs comes from oaks planted by pioneers John and William Deans in the 1840s, and it's still here today. Mr. Daly says though it's taken time and effort, the results are worth it.
It's wonderful. It's been a long journey, but it's been worth it. The house will be so much better.
So what was your reaction when you walked back into Granny's room for the first time once they'd sort of fixed it all back up?
I thought, wow, this is just amazing. This looks better than it was. It's new wallpaper, and look what it matches on the drapes. It's just a fantastic match.
This is Granny's room on the 22nd of February. This is Granny's room now. As you can see, some of these rooms are completely refurbished, along with carpet, the wallpaper and all the homely touches. Robbie Lang's a builder from Simon Construction, but he's been doing a little bit of home staging lately, and it hasn't been easy.
In this room we had an awful lot of clothes and things like that, which we had no idea where they went, so we put them all in the wardrobes and hid them away in drawers and things like that. But yeah, it was kind of fun.
He's even been making the beds. Rob Daly says with some of the rooms completely finished, they'll just have to keep chugging away.
There's three of the main bedrooms which are totally back to normal. The upper entry foyer is looking pretty good, and a couple of the other rooms have got bits and pieces in them, but they're not fully furnished yet.
Mr. Daly says the only part still being rebuilt is the 1856 part of the house, the first of 3 stages of construction, but even some of those rooms are ready for wallpaper and paint. Mr. Daly says at this stage they aim to have the house open again by the end of April. Patrick Phelps, CTV News.
3 local Irish dancers have been practising hours on end before heading off to London to take on the world.
They are the best in New Zealand. And now 3 local teenagers are heading to London to see if they have what it takes to become the best in the world.
Now try and keep the body nice and straight and do it again, and hold your arms tight.
In just a few weeks, the Irish dancers will go up against thousands of dancers from all around the world.
I'm a little bit nervous because it's competing at Worlds and it's the biggest competition there is, so it's just a wee bit nerve-wracking.
But the odds are stacked against them. Irish dancing isn't as strong in New Zealand as it is overseas. Less competitions and little funding doesn't make it easy.
So hard to get, very hard, very few get it from over here because we're too far away from the action, you know. They need to be immersed in it to get it.
But their teacher is confident in her dancers. They're national title holders, practising hours on end every day a week to be the best.
They give their very best, and as I always say to them, leave nothing behind and then you can't be disappointed with your performance, you know.
And the dancers aren't afraid of hard work.
It gets very tiring, but it's worth it.
And besides making sure they have perfect technique, their teacher makes sure passion is instilled within her students.
Give respect to what they're doing, respect the people out there watching, respect the adjudicator, but mostly respect Irish dancing.
Until they take off in April, it's hours of more work in the dance studio before they put their talent on display in London. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
Still to come, our sport, traffic and new look weather updates.
Every Monday night I'll take you out and about around the region's A&P shows from Cheviot to Temuka. You'll meet the exhibitors, have a look at the sheep and cattle and horses, and also have a look at what people have been producing. Rob's Country Showtime, 8:30 on a Monday night, CTV.
Ready to go, mate? Flight leaves at 4:30.
Relax, mate. We'll park at Airpark Canterbury.
Airpark Canterbury, privately owned and operated with a free 24/7 shuttle service. Call 0800 Airpark or book online at airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
Are you looking for more from your local channel? CTV are online. Our latest listings, on-demand shows, program information, all on the CTV website. We'll see you there.
My son's helped me greatly with my independence now that I've got more mobility.
Mum, I've been looking into stand assist chairs from More Mobility. They recline back with a footrest, then when you want to get out of them, they stand you up. You can even sleep on them. More Mobility can bring one out for a free trial. There's even electric beds too. What do you think? For more range and more expert advice, see More Mobility, corner Clarence and Princess Streets off Blenheim Road.
What a difference more mobility makes.
At Lamb & Haywood, we're committed to providing you with the very best environment at your time of greatest need. You can choose from the best facilities in Canterbury, our recently refurbished West Park Chapel, the Kerrs Road Chapel in Eastern Christchurch, or perhaps Waimana Chapel in Rangiora. However you remember, commemorate or celebrate the life of your loved one, whether it's an intimate group or a grand send-off, the choice is yours. Lamb & Haywood, a tradition of caring.
Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Carpet Kingdom. At Carpet Kingdom we stock a massive range of carpets and we're also the largest vinyl stockist in the South Island. And not only do we have an excellent range in store, but you can purchase our stock online. We offer free measuring quotes, we have our own installation team, we ship nationwide, so come on down and see us at Carpet Kingdom, 312 Wilsons Road in Waltham, just off Brougham Street, or visit us online at carpetkingdom.co.nz.
Be immersed in the unique cultural highlights Germany has to offer every Tuesday night with Discover Germany. Tuesday at 7 p.m, right here on CTV.
Well, it's the start of a new week. That means it's time for a roundup of the sporting action from over the weekend.
The Crusaders may have bagged their second win of the Super Rugby season on Friday night when they defeated the Rebels in Melbourne 25-19, but there are still a lot of questions being asked around the side's ability to get over the try line. The Reds conceded 4 tries in the space of 30 minutes against the Force coming into Friday night's match. However, it took the Crusaders almost an hour to register their solitary try after Ben Funnell got on the end of some handiwork from Nuffy Tuatavaki and Kieran Reid. The Crusaders have just 6 tries to their name after 4 matches and are yet to register any bonus points, which may prove essential come the business end of the season. Canterbury now have a week off with a bye next weekend, which will give Israel Dagg and Ryan Crotty time to rest up after they both picked up leg injuries. Our netballers, the Canterbury Tactics, look set for another wooden spoon battle in this year's Trans-Tasman netball competition after falling to their 3rd straight loss to open the season. The Tactics suffered their most disappointing loss yet when they were on the receiving end of a 36-goal thrashing to the West Coast Fever in Perth. The loss is the second largest for the Cantabs, who went down by 43 goals to the Firebirds in 2010. The damage was done and the game essentially over after the Tactics were outscored 24-9 in the second quarter, which saw them trail 42-19 at half-time. Some respect was reinstated in the second half as the Tactics showed somewhat of an improvement to finish the game with a scoreline of 79-43. Cyclone Lucy prevented any play in the Canterbury Wizards washed-out match against the Auckland Aces at Eden Park. The washout was the second for the Wizards in their 50-over campaign, but with 2 wins and a loss, they still find themselves in second spot, 5 points behind Northern Districts. The Wizards' next match is against Central Districts in New Plymouth on Wednesday. And finally tonight, Australia's Dan McConnell and Kiwi Karen Hanlon both successfully defended their cross-country titles at the Mountain Bike Oceania Championships held at Mount Hutt over the weekend. North Canterbury star Anton Cooper got off to a bright start in the men's event, going out to an early lead. However, Aussie star Dan McConnell was able to reel in the young Cantab before extending his lead to over 2 minutes before the end of the race. Cooper finished second, with Rotorua's Dirk Peters in third. The women's event came down to a last-lap nail-biter, with Kiwi Karen Hanlon overtaking Australian Olympian Rebecca Henderson on the final lap to take the title. Yesterday's rain-affected downhill event saw Wanganui rider Samuel Blenkimpson take out the men's event, while Wellington's Sarah Atkin took out the women's event. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
If you're driving around the central city, CTV's traffic update will assist you navigating the repairs taking place.
Hello travellers, to help you plan your journey around the central city, here's an update on what's happening with the roads this week. Several road closures are in place on the northern side of the city. Colombo Street between Peterborough Street and Kilmore. Armagh Street between Manchester and Madras. Chester Street East from Barbados Street to Fitzgerald Avenue. Chester Street West, that runs between Montreal Street and Durham Street North. Gracefield Avenue. And remember, Salisbury Street and Kilmore Street are down to one lane, so these will be slow in peak times. Keep watching CTV News first at 5 for more updates on what's happening with the central city roads, and in the meantime visit the Transport for Christchurch website.
And finally tonight, your new improved regional weather.
Kia ora everybody, let's take a look at what the weather was like in Canterbury today. A light westerly airflow is spreading over the South Island as a low moves away and a large-scale system of winds that spiral outward is developing in the Tasman Sea. Darfield and Meth 24 degrees, Leeston, Ralston and Lincoln 24 degrees, Christchurch 24 degrees. Akaroa had the high of the day on 25. Thambeli, Rangiora, Kaipoi 24 degrees. And the Cheviot, Hamner, Culverden area was 25 degrees. Kaikoura a little bit cooler at 23 degrees. But what's in store for tomorrow? Starting in the south in Timaru. Some low cloud at first, but clearing and weather becoming fine and sunny during the day, with northeasterlies developing later on. Tonight's low 14, tomorrow's high 19. Heading to mid-Canterbury, Ashburton can expect southwesterlies and some low cloud at first, but northeasterlies and mostly sunny skies during the afternoon. Tonight's low 14, tomorrow's high 19. In Christchurch, a cool southwesterly breeze and a low cloud develops at first, but will clear and the usual northeasterly winds developing later on in the day. Tonight's low of 14, tomorrow reaches a high of 19. In Kaikoura, the day will start with low cloud at first, but clearing and weather becoming fine and sunny during the day, with northeasterlies developing later on. Tonight's low 14, tomorrow's high 19. And in other areas around the region, they can expect to sit on an average of 19 degrees, with a chance of cloud in the morning, turning to clear skies by the afternoon. In Darfield, the low will be 14, but the low will only be 19 degrees, and in Leeston, Ralston and Lincoln, 14 degrees your low, 19 degrees your high, some cloud in the morning with fine in the afternoon. Ambly, Rangiora and Kaipoi, 14 degrees in the morning, hitting a high of 20. Some cloud expected, but will be fine in the afternoon. Henry Springs, Culverden and Cheviot, your low is 14, 20 in the afternoon. Looking ahead for Canterbury, sunny periods and high cloud on Wednesday with moderate northeasterlies. Mild moderate westerly winds and high cloud at first on Thursday, but cooler southwesterlies freshening during the afternoon with some low cloud and maybe a few showers. Mostly fine and sunny with breezy northeasterlies on Friday. Cloudy on Saturday with some light showers or drizzle patches possible and moderate cool southwesterly winds. Mostly cloudy on Sunday with moderate northeasterlies.
And if you're wondering about the music, that was Cézanne's second piano concerto. I think the movement was the Allegro Sforzando, but I could have got that wrong. I'll let you know tomorrow night. That's CTV News for Monday. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.